Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. This is the session on enterprise security and G Suite tools. I'm Reena Nadkarni, product manager on the G Suite team. We also have with us today Ivan Passos, my colleague, who's going to show us some great demos. So let's start by thinking about why this matters. Why does enterprise cloud security matter? Gartner recently said that the cloud-first strategies are the foundation of staying relevant in this fast-paced world. So as you can see, cloud is a fundamental, once-in-a-generation shift. And you, as leaders of innovation, cannot afford to get left behind. But we understand that these shifts to the cloud come with some significant risks to your enterprise, to your data, as you move this data to the cloud. Also, to your end users. So you may be convinced, but not all of your end users may be convinced. And finally, a personal risk to you. This is your professional reputation, your job at stake if you make the decision to go to the cloud. And I bet none of you wants to be on CNN for the wrong reasons. I want you to know that at Google, we take this responsibility very seriously. Let's first start with our product principles. At Google, we aim to build in security at all levels. You saw in the keynote this morning, right from our custom hardware chips, our data centers, our network infrastructure, our software, as well as end users and endpoints like mobile. Second, we aim to make our security easy and natural to use, not just for the end users, but also for the administrators. We want the security to just work and not get in the way of you doing your work. And lastly, we want to aim to help our customers meet their compliance needs. In security, scale matters. Google has 7 properties with over 1 billion users each. You're familiar with these: Gmail, Search, Play, Android, YouTube, and others. 7 properties with over 1 billion users each. And with G Suite, the security team that takes care of these products is now working for you. But we don't just stop there. We have groups of security researchers and former hackers who are continuously monitoring our system. We also proactively invite the community to help us hack our systems. We run bug bounty programs where we have external hackers come and try to hack our systems. But I'm sorry to say, most of the time they get this T-shirt that says, "I tried to hack Google, but all I got was this lousy T-shirt." You're welcome to try, by the way. So that is the solid foundation of Google security that we build our products upon. On top of that, we at G Suite are always listening, learning, and designing to the concerns of our top customers. In my conversations with our CIOs, CISOs, IT administrators, somehow 3 themes seem to keep bubbling back up. And we're going to talk about each of them today: phishing, data breaches, and mobile management. Obviously, our customers are very worried about these. And with this session, I want to leave you with a sense of familiarity and comfort of all the tools that we have in each of these areas. Let's talk about phishing. Users still fall for a well-defined phishing page 50% of the time. Phishing is still the #1 way someone's going to get malware into your organizations. As you know, passwords can be easily stolen, and they're weak. Did you know that 2 of the most commonly used passwords last year were 123456 and the word password? So clearly, we have a problem here. And OTP codes can also be phished. So what do? We recommend that you use security keys. Security keys are easy, they're great, they help you prevent against phishing. What we've also done is that we have now added some admin controls to be able to manage these security keys at scale. We now allow you to enforce the usage of security keys within your domain. We allow you to let your users self-enroll these security keys if you wanted to. If a user lost their security key or it got stolen, you can help that user recover it. And finally, you can now report on the usage of security key within your domain. I'm going to call Ivan on stage to show us a demo of how this looks. Ivan?
Thanks, Rina. Can you guys hear me? Yes. OK, so can we switch to the computer? There we go. OK, so I'm going to show you two different views of how this works. One is the admin, which is what you see now. And you will also see how a user perceives this feature. So the first thing is to set up security keys for a domain. And you will see on the left-hand side here that I can select this per OU, or organization unit within the domain. You basically have to answer 3 questions. Number 1, do you want to enforce this immediately or in a future date? And we recommend that you do it in a future date so that you have time to communicate with your users and let them know they should be receiving security keys, they need to self-enroll, et cetera, et cetera. Once you make that decision, you also need to choose whether you want to allow all types of two-factor authentication, which could be OTP or security keys, or just security keys. As Rina mentioned, OTP is also phishable, but in some cases, you may not be able to deploy security keys only to everyone. But if you select only security key, you need to make another choice, which is if your user loses or gets their security key stolen, how much time of a grace period will you allow them to use another method until they receive the new security key? And that's set up right here. That's it. That's all you need to do to set it up. Now I'm going to switch to the user view to show you how easy for a user security key, the use of security keys. So right now I'm logging in as a regular user. And because I set up security key enforcement on the domain, I'm going to be prompted. So would you like to register your security key? I have my security key here that I received from my admin. And then I can just click register. I'm going to be verified on my identity again. Have your security key? Yes. Next. Now I'm going to plug in the security key. And I will touch it. And that's it. That's all I need to do. Once I touch the security key, I have it registered. Every time I have to log in again, it will request for me to touch the security key, which does the two-factor authentication. And you can, of course, have this saved on computers that you trust for 30 days. That's a choice the user has. In addition to that, I showed you initially the enforcement. I showed you the self-enroll as the user. Now I'm going back to the admin view to deal with a situation where the user has lost the security key. So that's the recover that Rina mentioned. In this case, let's say that Italo lost his security key. They called in, let the admin know. The first thing you would do is go into the user. And then go into the security key settings and revoke the security key. That basically makes whatever was lost completely unusable. So here's for that user, the security key that was just registered is here, and then you can revoke it. Done. That security key cannot be used anymore until it's re-registered somewhere else. The other step is you can immediately provide that user with OTP codes so that while they are without a security key, they can continue to do their work until they receive a new one, register that again, and then they are able to use the security keys again. These keys or these codes will only work during that grace period that you had set up before. So that's how we can enforce still two-factor authentication, even in the case of losing the security key. And in addition to that, that is the reporting side. So the admin console has built-in reports that allow you to track how many people have enrolled on security keys, which users are still pending. And that way you can plan to extend your security key enrollment period, whether you're on track, and make decisions on how to deploy it. So again, security keys are very easy for the admin to set up, very easy for the users to actually use on a daily basis. And they do enforce a very important part of security, which is preventing phishing. And now I'm going to call Reina back to talk about the next step on the issues that IT worries about. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. Next, we're going to talk about data breaches. This is a very important area because data breaches are growing at an alarming rate. I think you're familiar with this, but just in the last year, we've had hackers infiltrate some very trusted names: Sony, Target, Home Depot, JP Morgan, eBay, Yahoo, and even the health insurance provider Anthem. We've had over 1,000 data breaches occur just in 2016. Over 35 million critical personal records have now been compromised to hackers. I'm happy to tell you that we have several new features in this area to help protect your data better. As you know, over a year ago, we launched Gmail DLP. What this feature allowed you to do was to stop end users in your organization from leaking data accidentally or intentionally. It allowed you to either stop people from leaking the information or be able to send it, but give them a warning that they shouldn't be sending it and notify the admin. We're now extending that DLP platform to Drive as well. We recently announced this functionality just last month, that DLP is now available for Drive as well. What we're doing in DLP for Drive is that, first of all, we have many predefined content detectors for you. So this is sensitive data formats from across the world. This includes license numbers, social security numbers, and such from the United States. You could have CPF numbers from Brazil, so Ivan's confidential information is not compromised. We have PAN account numbers from India, and worldwide, we have over 50 predefined content types. We also have predefined content thresholds. A lot of the tools on the market, what they do is that they provide you with so many false positives that as an admin, you kind of get tired of getting these alerts and you may miss something. So instead, what we are allowing you to do is that you can adjust these to your level of perceived risk. So we talked a little bit about the content detectors as well as the thresholds. But what's important here is that we also provide flexibility as part of the system. So you can not only have these predefined content detectors, but let's say you're a healthcare company where you're doing research and the keywords that you want to protect haven't been invented yet. So we allow you to be able to upload a set of keywords that are relevant to your business and your data. We also allow you to do optical character recognition on these attachments that are going out. So just to be very clear on what's happening here and the power of our platform, not only are we scanning the emails to protect your data, we're scanning the attachments that are going out with these emails. We can even scan not only these emails and attachments, but zipped attachments. And on these zipped attachments, if there are images, we can do pattern matching and do optical character recognition for each of these content types, like credit card numbers and social security numbers. So it's a really powerful way to stop data from leaking outside your organization. So with that, I'm going to call Ivan to do a demo and show you how this actually works. Ivan?
Thanks, Rina. OK, so I'm going to again play two roles, admin and user. And in this case, the user is Rina, who is working on a project to basically review all the credit card expenses in the company. So this document was created here to start that project and the collection, and it has a lot of credit card numbers. Those numbers, of course, are sensitive information. There is also information about employees here. And you will notice that the first thing that's visible here on the share button, that is a shield. That's already Drive DLP saying, if you're going to share this information, be careful. And it even says this has credit card number information. So be careful when you share this with anyone. And of course, Rina needs to share this with the rest of the team. So she's going to go here and try to share this with her colleague, Freddie Mac. Notice what happens here. Rina probably has communicated with Freddie on both personal and company email, and both of them showed up. Rina is in a hurry, so she clicks on the Gmail address. It just shows Freddie Mac now, so she'll try to send this. And what happens is DLP detects that that is going outside of the domain, tells Rina that this cannot go outside of the domain, so I'm blocking this. And once you click OK, it actually allows you to go back to the same screen and make the changes that you would need. So how does this magic work? As you can see, for Rina's flow, this hasn't impacted in any way the way she would need to work. She can still reach out to her colleagues, get work done. But on the admin side, this is done very simply by setting up rules. So these are the rules that are currently in the system. So I'm now in the admin view. And the rules that are currently in the system cover different types of data, including the credit card numbers data, which is the rule that actually caught that specific file. I'm going to go through the process of setting up a rule just for you to see how that would work. So let's say you need to set up a new rule. There are multiple templates here that you can use to start. I'm going to start from a blank template, but you don't need to if you know already what you're looking for. And this fits one of the pre-existing templates. And to create a rule, you basically need to look at three things. Number one, what type of data should trigger this specific rule? In this case, it's Google Drive. You would look at conditions. And Rina mentioned some of this before. Users will define the scope of those conditions, or of the rule, whether it's the entire company, whether it's a specific use, or even specific groups. Once you set that up, you can define the content. And in the content, you may select predefined templates. Those are the templates that Rina was talking about. Even my home country, Brazil, is covered here. I'm going to select Social Security just for the demo. You can also select custom word lists that you can build yourself or regular expressions. And based on that selection, you can also select, as Rina mentioned, confidence level, so you don't get more false positives than you're willing to deal with. Once you've done that, the next step is defining the actions. So once a trigger happens, what actions do I want to be taken? You can do one or both of these options. One is notify the superadmins that this trigger happened, and or either block external access or simply warn external access or external sharing. In this case, you may have cases where you say, be careful when you are sharing financial statements because they may not be public yet, but do not share any social security numbers or credit cards, for instance. And that's it. It's that simple. So in order to implement DLP in your domain, you would basically need to set up these rules, and your users will have no disruption in their regular flow, and still be able to be protected, to have their data protected by DLP. And that's it. Back to you, Rina.
Next, we continue our journey to put you in better control of your information. The Gmail logs in BigQuery. What we're doing here is allowing you to export all of your Gmail logs into BigQuery. As good as we have our reporting, we have customers telling us, hey, can I do my own custom queries? So this will allow you to do that. This allows you to retain your data for longer periods of time, as well as you can use a data visualization tool like Data Studio from Google, or you could use third-party tools like Tableau or Splunk that you're already using within your environment. Staying with Gmail, S/MIME encryption for Gmail. As you know, S/MIME is an industry standard way of encrypting email. What's special here is that we are allowing our customers to bring their own certificates to be able to do encryption using their own certificates. We're also providing an admin API to be able to do this at scale for large companies. We've talked a lot about the new features that are coming up with Gmail. However, I want to point out that there have been many features of Gmail security that have been existing in place for a long time that people don't realize we already have. One example that is not listed here, but the TLS warning that we recently added, the transport layer security warning, that just gave an indication if a domain did not encrypt their email, and that fundamentally changed how many domains out there were doing TLS. The next one here is to prevent outgoing spam with DMARC. This allowed people to control someone else from going out there and sending unauthenticated emails on your behalf. And then finally, we also have really solid spam and abuse policies in place where Gmail is doing the work for you. Along with all of these features, we also have security workshops that we run for our customers. So about 3 months after the product G Suite gets deployed in your environment, either someone from Google or someone from a partner can come and run a security workshop for you, and they can come and verify all of your security settings to make sure that you're appropriately protected. Deep scanning of Gmail attachments. This is one of my favorite upcoming features. It's already available in Trusted Tester for our customers. The time between a first malicious email entering into your organization to the first user opening this attachment and then spreading malware into your entire organization is very little. So what you want to do as an IT administrator is ideally get ahead of that process. So with the pre-delivery scanning of email attachments, what we're able to do is we're able to open these attachments in a secure sandbox environment, run them to make sure that there are no malicious scripts or bad acting going on in each of these attachments. So this is something to watch out for, and it's already available in Trusted Tester. Switching gears a little bit to a different product in our portfolio is Google+. As you know, Google+ is a relatively new addition. I think in Q3 of last year, we added Google+ to our commercial suite. A lot of large customers are using this product to make cultural change happen within their organization. I'll give you some examples. Rolling out large initiatives from their executives. For some reason, there are always those three-pronged initiatives, right? So to be able to roll out these initiatives in your organization across multiple geos, our customers are using Google+. They're also using Google+ to do bottoms-up ideation. We have a large retail customer where they have store employees who have really good ideas to be able to improve the overall company. And until now, they were just not able to get that voice heard. So they are using these dynamic communities across the company to bring out these ideas. So I'm happy to share that we have several new admin features that are now coming up for this product. I'll give you some examples. The first one is the domain level adoption engagement metrics. What we often hear from admins is that, hey, this product is great, it's being used quite a bit in our company, but I have no way to show the impact. So now we can show them how many people engaged with certain posts, who plused one certain posts, and such. Second, we have the audit log API. What this does, we have one customer, I'll give you an example. We have one customer, which is a large bank, and they have a small group of users, they're brokers. These brokers are required to be highly monitored. And so what they're doing here is that they have brought in a partner. That partner is building a compliance solution on top of our audit log APIs. Finally, the number one requested feature in this product is the walled garden feature. This allows the admin to stop people from externally sharing content within their domain, from outside their domain, and stopping IP leakage. So that full domain sharing and search restrictions is what we internally called as walled garden, and that's coming soon as well. So we talked a lot about the solid protections that we're putting in place for our first-party products, like email, for Drive, and others. But what about third-party applications? we have a new feature in place, third-party apps whitelisting. And this is also already available in Trusted Tester. What this does is that it allows you to figure out which applications are getting access to which OAuth scopes. And then the admin can only offer a set of trusted applications the ability to get to company data. A good example of this would be the Concur Travel app. You trust it, it can have access to all of your drive data, for example. But there are many apps that are bad actors, and they overreach in terms of the OAuth scopes that they ask for. Recently, there was a customer where there was a very innocent, innocuous-looking clock application, and many of their users installed this clock application, and it got access to a lot of the company data. If some app like this, a malicious app, got access to all of your users' files, just imagine the kind of damage it could do. So I'm going to call Ivan on stage to show us a demo of third-party apps whitelisting.
Thank you, Reena. All right. So here we see, again, Reena, who is trying to be all she can be, looking for apps to increase her productivity. And there are two specific apps that she found. One is DocHub, which allows you to edit signed PDFs online, integrated with G Suite. The other one is Smartsheet, which allows you to turn your sheets in your system into a project management environment. So Reena said, OK, great. I'm going to try to use these tools. And as she tried to log in, Smartsheet worked. And as she tried to log into DocHub, she got this message, policy enforced. And she has no idea what that is. So she gets in touch with the admin. And the admin actually knows what's going on, right? What the admin did first is, because of those threats that Reena mentioned, Reena, the presenter, not the employee, they had blocked any access from any third-party app to the G Suite API. And basically what we are looking at here is you have granular controls, where you can say, for these specific apps, I want to block everyone. For these other ones, I want to leave it open. In this case, we had blocked Drive and Contacts, left Gmail and Calendar open. And that basically says that any third-party app who tries to access the G Suite API will fail. You can also allow your own domain apps to be automatically trusted. However, you notice that one app worked, the other one didn't. Why? As Reena mentioned with the third-party app whitelisting, you are actually able to individually list the apps that you trust. In this case, Smartsheets is listed. And everybody else gets blocked. In this case, that's why DocHub was blocked. Now, DocHub is actually a G Suite marketplace app. So as an admin, I can make the decision to say, well, I know we can trust this app. This is not an app coming from nowhere. It's being certified by Google. I can just go here. DocHub is right there. I can add it to the whitelist. And it's that easy for you to increase the number of apps that are supported, that you trust, so that you reach a balance between protecting your domain and your data and enabling your employees' productivity. So that's basically it. That's simple. Thanks, Reena. Right.
So next, we're going to talk about Vault. Vault is our e-discovery product that comes as part of... Wait a minute. Ivan is the actual product manager for Vault. Ivan, you want to come up here and tell us about your product? He's been using me as a bad actor in all of his demos. So I'm going to put him on the spot. Come on up here, Ivan, and talk about your product.
Thank you very much. I'll see what I can do. All right. And by the way, Reena is my manager, so I better do a good job here. So Google Vault is the e-discovery and compliance solution for G Suite. How does Vault do that? So Vault basically provides you two specific areas of functionality to allow you to have legal compliance and prevent data loss. Number one, through its retention policies, Vault allows you to control the specific data that you should keep in your environment and the data that you don't want to keep. And that allows you to be compliant with your requirements, as well as minimize your data liability risk. If you leave data that's too old, when you get to the time where you need to produce data, that data may not be required to be there, but it may actually create trouble for you. And yes, too much data in some cases is a problem. Once you've done that in your environment, and you've set those automatic policies to keep your environment always compliant, Vault also provides you with e-discovery tools that allow you to support both legal and compliance requirements, whether they are internal investigations or specific legal cases and lawsuits. You can search and produce data and get that data in a format that can be used for sharing with an external counsel or with your internal teams, as well as moving that into a specific e-discovery tool that follows up with the process. So here are some details on how this works. With retention policies, you basically can answer a few questions. First question is, what app do you want to cover? And one thing that I would like to mention, which was announced this morning, is that now we have full support for Gmail, which we had, and we've added new full support for Drive, including Team Drives, as well as Google Groups. So basically, you can make a selection of the app you need to cover. The next step is to define the scope. Notice there is a similarity with other things we do, like DLP, where you go with specific criteria that you're going to use. So here you can do organizational unit, entire domain. You can also do specific entities like Team Drives. The next step is duration. Do I want this policy to be applicable indefinitely? Just keep all the data, or set it to a specific number of days? And last but not least, what should I do once that policy expires? Should I get rid of any data that matches it, regardless of whether the user has deleted it or not? That's a very aggressive policy. Or should I only get rid of data that the user has already deleted? Again, a lot of flexibility while still in a simple UI. And you can have multiple policies that match together, will match your compliance needs for your company. Once that's set, you would get Google-powered search to get the data that you need for a specific project. And once you get to the level of data that you want, you've coded the data, narrowed it down to your search requirements, you can export that easily so that you can share that with whoever needs it. And that's it. This is Google Vault. Quick and easy legal discovery and compliance. How did I do?
What do you guys think?
Thank you.
You know, that was great, Ivan, but to me, it seems like he's been practicing in his sleep. Thank you, Ivan. He's the actual product manager responsible for the announcements that Prabhakar made this morning on Vault. Let's talk about mobile management. Mobile management, why is this important? There's two fundamental things going on in mobile management. We have employees who expect to be productive on the go wherever they are, and they don't want security to get in the way. And then you have the admins whose goal is to keep the company's data secure, and their whole exposure to risk went up multiple times because each employee now has multiple devices. The other problem we have is that these admins are now managing a fundamentally different workforce. People don't stay in the same job for 20 years. We have millennials moving jobs every few years, and then when they do that, you've got to revoke the access they have on their devices, or take that company-owned device and redeploy it to somebody else. We have people trying to jailbreak their iPhones. We have people trying to sideload applications that they're not authorized to on their company devices. We need to be able to give admins the tools to be able to control this if they need to. What many customers don't realize is that as part of the G Suite, we have a comprehensive mobile device management solution. I'm going to walk you through a quick set of features that come with this solution. So first, right from our Mobile One console, you're able to manage both the company-owned as well as bring your own devices. You're able to curate and deploy third-party applications. You can look at some reporting that I'm going to show you here pretty quickly, as well as take some actions using our mobile device management solution. So here is an example of a very simple one-click setup. You click on Manage Now, and it tells you it's going to allow you to do screen lock, account wipe, as well as inventory management. You click on Manage Now. And there, now mobile device management setup is complete, and you're able to set this up for your entire mobile fleet. Next, bulk enrollment of company devices. Here's what happens. Let's say you're an IT admin managing a fleet of about 20,000 employees, and now your CEO just complicated your life by acquiring another company with 3,000 new users. Now you bought these new devices to be able to get these users to be productive. What do? We provide a way for you to just take all of these device IDs, put them in a CSV file, and upload them, and our system can ingest them. And with that simple thing, you can get all of these devices managed pretty quickly. That's MDM at scale. You also may have some homegrown custom applications, or you may want to deploy some pre-approved third-party applications. We allow you to do that using our work store. You're also able to monitor and audit these devices. You can report on the type of users, the type of devices, iOS and Android versions, and such. What we've also found is that in many large customers, there's not just one admin. There's teams of admins. Some of these admins have delegated admin authority managing just Gmail or just mobile. So we want to be able to enable that scenario, and you can have a comprehensive audit log of what admin actions were taken by each of these admins. Next, we also have a risk when there is inactive devices with the credentials of your company's data sitting on these inactive devices. So what we're enabling you to do is to be able to track these inactive devices, and you can revoke credentials if you don't want them to be there. So once you've done this monitoring and auditing, you can also take some very quick actions. You can, for example, revoke the Google OAuth token, or you could also remove the Google account altogether. At Google, especially in our team, because we are focused on large customers and admins, we like to remind people that admins are people too. So as an admin, you may possibly be somewhere, like at your child's birthday party, and you get an alert. So we enable you to take these actions even on the go using our Google Mobile Admin application. We also allow you to create custom workflows for these devices using our admin APIs. So for example, we have our mobile CRUD APIs, we have mobile audit APIs that you can use. And it's also a way for our partners to build and extend our platforms using these mobile APIs. As customers are discovering these features and capabilities of the Google mobile device management, what they're realizing is that they are paying extra for a niche product that they don't need to, because all they were using is those 37 active sync policies anyway. So we've seen a very large uptick in the adoption of our mobile device management solution over the last few quarters. So ultimately, in the cloud, security is about trust. And as you saw this morning in the keynote, you had Phil Garland from PwC come and talk to you about how they use G Suite at scale. These trust, security, and compliance features have helped many large customers experience the power of Google innovation and machine learning by going Google. Here's a quote from Mike, who is the CIO of Whirlpool Corporation. So let's think about this. We encrypt your data at rest. We encrypt your data in transit. You can use security keys to secure your accounts. In addition to that, our data centers, our applications, and our processes are audited and independently verified by third parties. And so we have these certifications like FedRAMP, ISO 27001, and others. One question that I keep getting, and I almost want to make a sign that says, I can't believe I have to still keep saying this, so I'm going to say it. But what about ads? People ask me, Google is an advertising company, are you going to show me ads? So let's be clear. In our consumer products, we have ads, and that enables us to offer these products to our consumers for free. The enterprise business, the ads and our enterprise systems, they don't touch each other. We commit to no ads using our contractual DPA, the Data Protection Addendum. So let's recap. We went through a lot of things today. So let's recap about what the things we talked about. Phishing. We showed you security keys. And by the way, we're going to give away security keys to each of you at the end of this session. So please, as you're exiting, I see some cheers. Awesome. As you're exiting, please make sure that you pick one up. And then second, we talked about mobile management, our easy setup, being able to do bulk enrollment, as well as password lock, remote wipe, monitoring and auditing, and quickly taking some actions. And we also talked quite a bit about what we are doing to protect you against data breaches. This included data loss prevention for Gmail and Drive. We talked about how you can do advanced logs analysis in Gmail. We also talked about S/MIME encryption, walled garden, and other audit APIs for Google+. We're protecting you from third-party apps data breaches with our third-party apps whitelisting feature and giving you control back as an admin. We have Vault for Drive and groups. And finally, we talked about all of our certifications. I hope that gives you a sense of comfort and a comprehensive picture of all the solid protections that G Suite brings to you to secure your enterprise data in the cloud. With that, I'd like to end with a note of gratitude. If you are our customer, thank you for being here and thank you for being with us. If you're a prospect or a partner, we look forward to working with you more in the future. Thanks a lot. And that is our disclaimer that my legal team made me put. So in case you're going to pick up a security key, please make sure that you read this. It talks about if you're traveling out of the country, they may ask you to pay a tax. It's this small, so we'll see.